generated. It's like, yeah, but it's randomly generated
but how
from
much?
a pre-existing set of things. So is it really random?
Yes.
Or is it just, okay, for this plant, I choose plant number 1. For this plant, I choose plant number 2. You know, is it really assembling these plants randomly, or is it really just a stock of environmental
tile
elements?
sets and stuff.
Tile sets. Yeah, that's just put in. So I could see the weird behind that. I'm hoping it's not the case.
Yeah, I will speak on behalf of the people who are a lot of people who are wary about just how much this game is promising.
Yeah.
Because it is a really huge thing that they're promising here.
Another little analogy. This is Peter Molyneux's scale.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that. Well, I was gonna compare it to Peter Molyneux, when I was thinking about this video earlier, but I completely forgot. Thank you for doing that. Thank you.
Peter Molyneux's scale of promising and wish fulfillment.
Actually, I'm glad that you brought it up because I probably would have said his name wrong.
Molyneux.
Molyneux. Anyways, but a lot of us are still hoping that what they're promising is real. I mean, this is made by Hello Games, and I'm pretty sure this is only their second franchise. They made a bunch of the Joe Danger games. Actually, they made all the Joe Danger games, which I think was like 3 of them.
I never read that.
Yeah, but this is quite a jump from Joe Danger to a game with an infinite expanding universe. Every planet unique, every animal unique. Every planet has its own ecosystem, and when you start out in the game, you start out on your own planet on the edge of what's already been generated. So this, in essence, it's like an MMO, but they're really avoiding calling it an MMO because you're hardly ever going to be working with anybody because you're going to be so far apart. Yeah. In fact, you're going to be working up to the point where you can fly to other people by upgrading your ship and stuff. Because you're so far apart, you need like light speed to add to your ship and stuff.
I imagine it'll be initially you'll be alone, but there'll be ways to work towards cooperating with other spacefaring people.
Yes, and we must realize that they still haven't released all the information yet. There's still a lot of things that they're holding back.
Yeah, there's very little has actually been truly revealed, other than just the basic premise and some images and whatnot. And
the guy, the head honcho at Hello Games, who's you constantly seeing in the interviews at E3 and stuff, his name is Sean Murray, and he's constantly comparing this to old school sci-fi books of the old days.
Right.
As you and I previously discussed before, how a lot of sci-fi themes are involved, like battles and kind of likened it to what the Star Trek movies are, current Star Trek movies are to the old Star Trek.
Yeah.
How the old Star Trek was like all about exploring.
Yes. Like the combat, if you can even be called that, is very few and far between. It's small tidbits. It's a quick hand-to-hand fight or something. There's not a lot of big, full-scale dogfights and blowing up. It's not Star Wars.
No, it's not.
Which I love Star Wars. So
which there will be dogfighting in the game.
Yeah, and there is action. They do fight. They fight the Klingons and the Romulans and things like that. So that is there in Star Trek, but it's more about civilizations, discovering how other things evolve, discovering other species, other life,
other civilizations,
being explorers first and a military second.
Yes,
and that's kind of what this game feels like.
Yes,
it's. I once recently talking to someone else. They said, well, "What's the objective of the game? What's your goal?" And it's like it's like, what's the goal in Animal Crossing?
Yeah,
it's like, what's the goal in The Sims? Not to compare this to those games, because those games I say are a little bit lower par than these personally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about the end. It's about crappy gift greeting card quote. It's not about the end. It's about the journey. and that's what this is. It's not about reaching a set finite conclusion. It's about just making your own story and finding all these other stories in the galaxy.
Yes, making your own story.
Yeah.
In which they have kind of alluded to the fact that the main object of the game is to fly to the center of the universe. And recently, when I was reading on some things that Sean Murray said, they are working on something very special to be at the center of the universe. Yeah. So it's like I haven't made this analogy with you yet, but I'm going to kind of say that the main. It seems that what is initially the main object of the game, it's kind of like a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of comparing it to a pilgrimage makes it kind of sound exciting.
Yeah.
I
would say my worry with that is if the main objective, if it can be called, is to get to the center of the universe, doesn't that sort of downplay that it's flying outward? And
you know what? That's something I've constantly thought about too.
It's like if I'm going to fly outward and fly new planets and undiscovered planets, that's putting me further and further from my objective of getting towards the center. But maybe they'll institute some sort of faster than light speed type travel.
They will.
Or even if you're traveling through planets you've seen, maybe you can set a course and then the game will just progressively move you there. You shut your game off or something and you're traveling in real time to your other destination. Maybe, who knows? Yeah. These are all just completely made up scenarios.
Yes.
But I would assume there will be some sort of FTL travel.
Well, yeah. My assumption is that that's going to be something that you upgrade your ship to.
Yeah. Advance your warp drives and stuff.
Yeah. I know one upgrade that you work to is the ability to have wingmates.
Yeah. Squadron.
As you could see in the trailers that they've shown, you have like the guys that, your squadron.
Yeah.
It's like a small 3-man team, and that's one of the upgrades you can work to. But once again, this it's kind of it's mind-boggling to think about, and that's why we make the comparison to Peter Molyneux scale promises. Because it's an infinite world, and everybody plays in the same exact universe. When you discover a planet, it's tagged with your name on it, saying this planet was discovered by this person, and people can fly to that planet and see it, if they wanted to, and you can play this game and this is what Sean Murray's saying. You can play this game for hundreds of hours and still only see a fraction of the game. There's no way to see everything in the game. And that's mind-boggling and akin to Peter Molyneux scale promises.
Right. I mean, I'll never forget the original Fable where he's all like, you can be whatever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. And just...
One I remember is, imagine hitting a tree and an acorn falls from the tree. That acorn can grow into a tree.
Yeah. And full proactive or whatever world. It's like, that's not... Fable 3 didn't even have that.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like 2 games later, still not getting it.
And I'm not sure if you remember this game that he was making that was more like a tech demo.
The Milo
Yes,
thing? Yeah.
Yes. I remember being fooled by that. I thought, that was so awesome. Wow, this Kinect thing is really cool. And then it turns out,
you can do so much with it, as long as that so much includes dancing.
Even Star Wars can do it.
Yeah, you can see Han Solo shake his booty. Han Solo twerking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Really good
it's okay.
Yeah. One thing I don't know. You may know. Have they set the level of customization to your ship?
They say there's going to be a lot to it. That's at least the assumption that from what they've said. But how much it'll change because when I think of customization, I think of not only just upgrades and stuff, but the appearance of your ship.
That's what I'm really asking. Like, are people going to be able to build a TIE fighter or an Enterprise or
we've talked about the level of randomization that they had. How I read in that one article how they had this button on their engine where they was just click it and they get like a million randomizations of this one type of thing. One of those things that they was able to randomize was ships. So I do know the number of ships, not fecal matter, are just as random as the biological creatures and such. So the freighters and ships that
it's believable that in some way the player will be able to have them customized.
Yes.
You know what this game makes me think of? This game makes me think of the way I wish and thought EVE Online was going to be. You know, 'cause it's like, not just math the game.
Yeah, exactly. And then, or the game where when anything exciting happens, the frame rate drops drastically.
Yes.
But another game that they're comparing this a lot to, and I know we talked about it in the past, I'm not sure if you remember it, but Star Citizen. Remember how I told you about there's this game that was getting a lot of funding, and they was releasing it in big drops, in which there was a dogfighting drop, and then eventually they're going to work their way up to like a multiplayer, single, like multiple people on one ship, like Star Trek type battles. There's a lot of people are comparing it to that game, but it's really not the same game. Once again, exploring is all what No Man's Sky is about.
Yeah.
And
I wonder what your avatar's going to look like, because we always see it in the first-person perspective without him running into other players.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll just be generic guy in a suit.
I don't know. That's very interesting.
Because obviously you'll be able to see something.
Yeah. It's not. Oh, big plot twist. We're all tentacle creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this game because of how huge it is, how many things, different things you can see, like in the trailers. You see all those dinosaurs, and some of the dinosaurs have these leaves growing out of their head.
Yeah.
And you see this rhinoceros that's rampaging, and there's real danger on these islands too. These creatures can actually kill you, although they haven't really shown that in any of the gameplay that they've dropped so far.
They haven't shown you getting eaten by a T-Rex looking thing.
No, unfortunately, no. But we can all look forward to that. But just the number of things that you can see is what gets me excited about this. It's like when I played Minecraft, I always thought it was exciting to see a cool generated landscape and stuff like that. And so, but once again, there is a piece of me that's wondering if it's going to be as big as they make it out to be, because it won't be the first time